Welcome everybody to Eye of the Serpent Tarot for another pick a card reading. So today's is all about what messages the natural world is trying to bring to you, both in direct sort of like communication with nature and observation of nature, and also in the spiritual sort of element, that the spirit of nature talking to you through various sorts of ways. And the inspiration for this came from the fact that some time ago I backed a Kickstarter campaign for an oracle called the Sylvan Oracle, which is an oracle that depicts nature spirits with a particular emphasis on trees and the various sort of aspects or elements of the trees, which has to do with the suits, which I'll talk about as we go through the readings. But it's all about that part of nature talking to us and talking to us as humans who, in a sense, sometimes, and I would have to admit to this, get a little bit detached from nature. In fact, I really love to find very, very profound natural decks, because it's sort of something that I sort of be a little bit of a hermit and live in my apartment that I can get a bit disconnected from. So I immediately wanted to back the campaign. That campaign is over now, but the deck is available on the creator's Etsy store, and that's listed below. And this is a creator who I bought from before. His name is Greg White, and he is the creator of the exceptionally beautiful Wilder Woven Tarot, which I have used before on this channel, and I'm going to use as the deck for this particular reading as well too. So you get a treat of his beautiful artwork. It is truly sublime. So as I say, the Sylvan Oracle, which is what you see 3 cards from, and underneath this there's 2 other cards that are intuitively drawn from that deck. I don't know what they are, but I did ask Spirit for one of 3 messages that the natural world might want to bring you, and there'll be, as I say, 2 others that are either part of one all-encompassing interconnected message, or it might be 3 separate messages. So we'll just see what happens. But you see that deck there, and what you'll sort of realize as we go through is there's a number of suits that correspond to different aspects of a tree, and that then corresponds to particular types of messages. So you'll see here that you've got number 4 from one suit, which is the suit of bark, and then you've got number 4 from another suit, which is the suit, I'll have to double check, but I think of fruit. It's either fruit or blooms, but I think it's fruit. It's a little bit hard to tell with the colouring, so I'll have to check that out. But you'll see, we'll go through that as we go through the readings. That's not particularly of any great note now in terms of the choice. It's just to let you know that's why there's the same number there for 2 of them, if numbers are things that particularly draw you. And if it is, it might be suggesting go to both the first and the second pile. But that's up to you. To help with the choice, pile number 1 has responsibility with the number 4. Pile number 2 has the number 4 as well with safeguard, and pile number 3 has tenderness. And I'm just completely in awe of that card. That's just so beautiful. Like when I dealt it out, I was just like, that is just sublime. Not that I'm saying you have to go and watch pile 3, you do you, but I just find that extraordinary, that particular piece of art. But all of Greg's work is wonderful. So when you know what pile or pile you want to go to, the timestamps as always are in the description box below, and I'll see you there. Welcome pile 1 to your reading. So you came to the reading with responsibility, and as I say, these are in different suits, and I think it matters because I think this is saying that this is one overarching message that has sort of 3 elements to think about as I look at the cards, because responsibility comes from the suit of bark, and that is all about protecting something that's important. And I think in this, because of the other 2 cards, it's protecting your authentic self, your communication, how you can communicate with others, and how you can read how that is going and decide what to take in from other people and what you should stand within your truth on. So this is about protection. This is from the suit of leaves, which is about how you think about things. So it's about the mind. So it's a bit like the suit of swords in the tarot. This is probably a little bit more like the suit of pentacles. And then here with light blue, this is branches, and this is about communication. So both of those are a little bit like the swords, and this is a little bit like pentacles potentially, I would say, given the nature of what these cards mean if you want to do an association with tarot. And it'll be interesting to see what we get with tarot. But to start with the thing that brought you here, responsibility, this is actually talking about very practical things. This is about how you order your life in general, and it uses the allegory of a untidy house. So if you have an untidy house, then possibly your life is a bit untidy, and perhaps you're a little bit sort of chaotic, or you're going through a lot of change or things like that. Now, the thing that I find interesting is that's definitely something to think about. What responsibility do we have for both generally in our life, the kind of order and the coherence of our life, and the environment that we're in, and all of those sort of things. And there definitely could be for some of you a message about thinking about that. But in combination with these two, this being one of the communication cards, I feel, or actually more mind and cognition, and this is communication, but in that kind of realm, this is about being confident to be true to who you are, and being able to express and believe what you believe, even if others don't approve. And then with indication, with communication, this is all about reading the body language, the non-verbal cues and so forth, to get a sense about how others are responding. So I kind of feel, and it'll be interesting to see when we use the tarot, because we're going to get a little bit on each of these and see how they come together, if they do, and what's not being seen. But I feel like there's actually a message here about, are you being too hard on yourself about something like this? Are you taking on too much responsibility? And the interesting thing, let's just give you an example of how this sort of could play out. And it's not meant that if this example doesn't fit, this isn't your reading. It's just to give you an idea. But if you were, for instance, sharing your home with someone, particularly maybe not a family member, but, a share house or something like that, you may be someone who's a bit more chaotic in your living space. And then the other person might be a very, very tidy person. Probably what you would need to do is find a point of balance with that. And it may well be that you can have an untidy room, but you help with the tidiness and so forth in the common living areas, for instance. And then if that's the case, your share house person really can't say anything about what's in your room. Like you can have the two different standards. It's just to give an example, using the example they said, but it's not just about that. I think this is about choices that you make about how you order your life and whether or not others approve, and being really clear that you should do what you believe and stand in the truth of what you believe, regardless in a way of how people respond. But having said that, because this is talking about responsibility, you do need to take responsibility for how they respond in another way. So for instance, if you were in some sort of a dispute or an argument, then it's important to keep it on the issue rather than to make it personal. There's a thing that we used to talk about a lot in conflict resolution in my former occupation, and they used sort of sporting metaphors and so forth for it. And so one was play the bat and not the batter. And what that basically meant was play the issue, talk about the issue, don't make it personal. Because normally if we get to the point where there's a disagreement, if we go to something that's personal, if we critique somebody rather than staying on the issue, then we're going to trigger conflict. So I think this is sort of saying, reading the cues really well. And I would think with this card, you're actually very good at that. You're actually very good at seeing nonverbals. Being confident in yourself, not sort of, if you are doing something that's true to you and you feel it's right and it's the right sort of order, stick to that. Because as I say, I'd be the first person to say I kind of live in a bit of chaos. And when I used to do my job, I used to have a messy desk, and I was incorrigible with that. But oddly enough, and you'll get this from people like me, would say, I know where everything is when it's messy. If somebody comes and cleans it up, I won't know where anything is. So it's really like, what is your space? What is somebody else's space? And again, that's an example. But I think this is all about understanding and taking responsibility for the impact of your choices, but not backing down from them, just working out how to work with others, or just to calmly and sensibly agree to disagree. So I think there's a very strong energy here of don't back off from what you believe, but equally don't make it personal. Don't get into that. And if you are dealing with people who make it personal, try and stick on the issue, and if not, withdraw, because you're not going to be able to have that kind of honest communication if people have gone to that kind of energy. And I've seen like what should have been good conflict resolution go to custard, basically, when somebody gets into playing, ad hominems and so forth. And just, I think this would be a kind of, you can really sort this out and stand in your truth, and you can keep harmonious relationships. I think this is what it's all about. So I'm going to get 3 cards for each of them from the beautiful Wild Woven Tarot, just for a little bit more information on each of these messages, just in case. In some cases, they're actually different messages, but I do feel there's a real synergy here, so it makes sense to me that this is a singular message with 3 elements, but we will just see what we get. So that's how we're going to start firstly. So let's start with responsibility. Let's start with this one about how you order your life, how you protect your life, because that's what this suit is all about, protecting your life by having sort of order and not being in chaos, or the right level of chaos for you and not any more than that. We have the Four of Pentacles reversed, the Two of Cups reversed, Strength. Okay. So I think this is definitely a confirmation straight out of the bat that these are all connected, because I think the Two of Cups here is connecting over to the understanding of others. This does look like, if you come to the right reading, there is something about the way you order, structure and protect your life that is in at least mild conflict with somebody else, or very different to somebody else. You might have just fallen in love and you just have a completely different idea about, what a home environment should be when you move in. And this is certainly not something you would want to have the love disappear for. But yeah, as I say, you could be in a share house, it could be co-workers, it could be anything. But this is definitely, there is some sort of emotional issue here that is different to others, that is not in harmony. And it has to do with almost the building of a foundation. It feels like for most people who've come to this reading, this is probably about some new relationship, new collaboration, new home environment, new work environment, whatever it is. But remembering that however you tend to structure your life is one of your strengths. So it's saying don't back down. And I think it's really interesting. We have very similar colouring here. So this beautiful bird that's showing strength is very similar to this one saying confidence, have confidence. The way you think about things, your mind, it works well with how you structure your world. And it's like, that's one of your strengths. So this is not a capitulate type situation. This is a try to find the sort of mid-road that works but doesn't reduce what you're trying to do. But there's definitely something where your way and somebody else's way, and if it isn't happening now, it's probably coming in, and this is why nature wants you to know about it, so that you don't blink and you don't just change reflexively to avoid conflict or something, or that you don't go personal when you sort of feel that you need to protect yourself, because this can be resolved. This is saying your mind and your capacity to read other people is very, very good. You can use those skills. So let's see a little bit more about this confidence, about believing in yourself and not being worried if others don't agree, but like knowing at your core what your strength is. Ten of Wands reversed. Seven of Swords reversed. Yeah, your mind's very clever. Justice reversed. Okay. There is something here where something unfair is probably either has happened or could happen, or you're worried that it's going to happen. Now, another example of this might be, and this is where, one has to be clever and work out what to do. Say, for argument's sake, you were doing some study and you're writing a thesis, or you were writing a book or something like that. This could be saying that when that goes to someone who, like an editor or to a professor to mark, there could be sort of something about the way you've structured or put it together that there is some sort of pushback on. And it may not be fair. Like, I think this is saying there's something a bit unfair in this energy, and to be aware of that and not let that get in your confidence. And what it may be is you make a tactical decision, because you certainly have the mind. You are very, very realistic. Like, you're not, if somebody's trying to say to you that you're not being fair or not being realistic, you actually are very realistic. And you look to reduce burdens and make things efficient and effective in some way. So as I was saying, like for me, a messy desk actually made things efficient for me. It wouldn't for somebody else, but it did for me. So it's like knowing yourself and knowing your strength and so forth. But say it was something like a thesis. How I always used to view things like university, like when I was there, is that there are the two levels. There is the learning. You go there to learn. You go there to learn about a topic. You go there to learn how to think and how to critically think and how to structure an argument and how to refine what you believe and whatever technical or other sort of elements are in the particular field you're in. So to some degree, if you are saying I want to get the best mark possible, you can find a compromise and go, okay, I'm going to take on board what the professor is saying. It doesn't mean I ultimately have to agree, but I can do that to play the game, because in the end, even that process of doing that and taking on another person's point of view and incorporating it becomes an extra technique or skill I have. And then at the end of it, I can decide what I believe. And that's just understanding the environment you're in. And sometimes it's the same, and it's not, that might feel a little bit not being honest or whatever. And I don't think this is saying to be dishonest, but it is understanding that there is what is your sovereign mind and what you believe. And then there is what maybe you need to do to get through certain hurdles. So it's just an example, but I feel like there is some sort of compromise here that you can be very realistic about, but it's probably not going to be fair. So you need to understand that so that you stay sovereign to your thinking. And over here, your understanding of people, your reading of the situation is going to be very, very good. So let's have a look. You'll see indications, non-verbals, or you'll just have a sense, again, using the analogy of maybe if you're studying, you'll have picked up, what your professor or lecturer believes in sort of tutorials and discussions and things like that. So knowing what you need to potentially compromise with or take into account in whatever this is to come to a settlement that you can stay sovereign in, but you can also live with. Let's have a look at what we get around indication. Ace of Cups, the Hermit, Knight of Cups. Okay, so I've been using messy desk, work environment, and university as an example. But you know what? I think a lot of this, and this is probably the clue was here, is about a very personal relationship. I think for most of you, for some of you, those sort of things may apply. Your sovereign intellect, critical thinking skills or whatever, and then understanding your environment and understanding the other point of view will help you keep your strength, but also manage something where perhaps it isn't fair. There's something very emotional about this, though. I think for many of you, it could be about a new love relationship. And as I say, it could just be you have different love language, or you live very differently. And you've got to find the compromise, because otherwise you're going to sort of nip the great opportunity here in the bud. You don't want to be alone. You know that the outcome of separation is not something that you want. And either you've had the emotional offer or you want to make an emotional offer. And it's an adjustment thing. So I think all of this is the same message, really. It's saying whatever the situation is, whether it's emotional, whether it's work, whether it's academic, whether it's how you live your life in some way, whether it's, I think with most of you, this is around somebody new, but I guess it could be around family and things like that, and like kind of leaving the nest if you're at that age and going out and doing what you want, and maybe your parents don't 100% approve, but whatever it is, you are meant to use a very sharp, very clear intellect and stay confident with that to navigate what may feel unfair, because at the end, you can still stay sovereign to what you believe and you can still keep to your strengths. But, ideally, you also do this in a way that keeps the friendship, the lover, whatever it might be. So let's use the deck with 4 cards, I feel, to bring it together. What is the unifying message that this is trying to say to you? The Lovers, yeah. It is about a relationship. Whether it's a love relationship or another relationship, because Lovers isn't always about romantic relationships. This is about either salvaging or the healthy growth of a relationship where there's a lot of clarity and mutual respect. The Tower, yeah, and it's a very important relationship in one way or another, and if this isn't dealt with, it could be something that almost puts a weak foundation on the relationship right from the beginning. Knight of Pentacles, many of you, it could be in your work or it could be around material things, so you have to be very clear. And 5 of Pentacles, yeah, because it's like Spirit saying you don't want to be alone. It's saying that. It's like understanding that. There's some form of compromise, but not too much. And it needs to be dealt with on the issue, not personally. Okay, I'm going to draw 2 more cards for what's unconscious underneath all of this for you to contemplate using the tarot. King of Cups reversed. 9 of Wands. Okay, you've found this before. This is probably why it feels unfair. Now, whether this is, for some of you, it might be a relationship that's hitting that point, like is it going to last or not? But I do feel for many it's new, but this is not new to you. You've seen this before. And you may be even carrying some wounds from this, because this is saying hold to your sense of self. Don't worry what somebody else thinks. But I think there's a kind of a balancing thing here that maybe there is a compromise. There is the possibility to see this through and make it work. But I think the real test for you is if you know what you believe, you're very clear on all of that, and you're open to discussing the issue and you keep it on the issue and you come to a compromise, then you can be pretty sure this is a very solid relationship in whatever form it is going forward. If the person goes personal, if they start to personally attack, then it probably is like whatever you've gone through before, and you might have to question whether this is a long-term thing you want to be connected with. So I feel that's what it's saying. Let's get you something else from the the natural world, let's get a couple of animal guides for you and see what to bring to this energy. Firstly, polar bear, ancestors. So that's interesting with the King of Cups reversed. Some of you, this could be around family things and doing something very different to your family. And so the new energy here is about you doing something new or connecting with people that they may not approve of or something. But there may also be some of your strength, this great mind that you have, this clarity that you have. You may be able to draw on your ancestors for support, because I feel like you're going to need it, but I also feel like you're more than capable of discerning this and navigating it. And chameleon, change. Yeah, so there will be a degree of compromise and change required here. I think that the real way of knowing is it being reciprocated by the other person? Are they meeting you halfway or not? And as I say, are they staying on the issue rather than getting personal? If they're getting personal, then know that that's a form of dominance. That's a form of bullying in a way. So it's make sure that you watch for those signs. But if you can see the signs that they're coming to meet you halfway, then that's a really, really good indication around whatever this is. Let's also look at some other signs that you can see. So I'm going to get a sign from, in general, that could be either from sort of synchronistic stuff or something that you see in nature. And I'm also going to get an oracular or dream sign for you as well around this energy. So firstly, music. Okay, so music may be sort of something that, like, in some cases, if this is about share housing, it could come down to a debate about music, like what music taste you have and so forth, on a very literal level. Otherwise, if you hear music, you hear lyrics and so forth that give you an indication, pay attention to that. That's the kind of synchronistic world talking to you. And then either in terms of dreams or oracular energy, weather, this is like the Tower. Weather, natural events. I think it's very much, this is a breakthrough or breakdown energy. This is like, pay attention to that kind of thing. If you feel stormy weather coming in, it may in fact almost be atmospherically bringing in when this could be an issue. So, and if you're dreaming about that sort of thing, you could know that sort of issue could be coming up. Just so that you have a bit of, if you don't already know who this is and what it is, just so that you see some of those signs as well. Okay, let's get you just some stars to guide you as well. North Node, you're heading towards what you're meant to be and who you're meant to be. So don't doubt that. Don't. This is why it's very important to only give in what is a reasonable and meeting halfway compromise. You need to be confident and stay true to what you're doing. The 7th house, it's got to do with the relationship. What are the right relationships? What are the right partnerships? Are you heading to the right partnership? This is going to be a testing thing. I think if this is about love, I think you're going to find, so say, a very different love language or very different ways of living, very different culture, something like that. If the person that you think is the right one that you're heading towards can meet you halfway and you work that through together, it's a very good sign this is the one. If not, it's a sign that it's probably not, I would say. And waning crescent moon, the surrender, release control of the universe. Okay, yeah, this is not really, you can't control whether or not this issue is going to come up. It's not like you could sort of pre-see it and try and sort of accommodate in some way to stop the issue from coming up, because whatever you do, you probably need to actually have the conversation. So just let it flow and understand that this is a test about whether this relationship, in whatever form it is the right one for you. And like, it should be one that makes you feel that you can be sovereign to yourself and that you're allowing the other person to be sovereign to themselves as well. Okay, so to finish off, wanted to get the Oracle of the Roses. So we're going to roses. Now this is archetypes, and I wanted to ask the archetype that you are coming from. And it's very interesting, we've got the North Node, because we're then going, what are you going to become, the archetype you're moving towards as a result of these sort of messages. So what you're coming from, the child. Okay, so some of you, this may be about family, or it may be, I just think it might be something very new. I feel like it's not saying you're childish or anything like that, but I mean, there is a possibility that some of this is around parenting, it's around you and your family, all of those sort of things, and it's a shift when you go from being a child to being the adult, and therefore you no longer have to do what your parents say. That is possible depending upon your age. But I think otherwise this is just saying this is something very new. It's saying it. You're moving from the newness into the true knowing of this person. So what are you heading towards? Wow, the ancestor, and we've got the ancestors over here. This is partly to awaken a deep strength in you that you didn't even know you had. And as I say, if this works out, it's a very strong sign this is an important relationship, and maybe, collaboration, love, or whatever it might be. But this is also you going, and if it is about family, it's you going from being in the child role to being in the adult, being the one who then passes on and helps others. So for some of you, this is also maybe about if you've moved into that role, if you've now got children, for instance, or if you've got younger people that you're trying to help, it's also showing them how to stay true and strong to themselves, and also how to read others. So for some of you, you might actually be helping others with this. This may not actually be something going on for you. You may be helping others. And you were meant to hear this from the natural world about a kind of a process for doing that. Anyway, I hope whatever it is that you've enjoyed the reading. If so, please like the video and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 2, to your reading. So you came to the reading with Safeguard, and then we also have Wish and Offering. Just to tell you quickly about the areas in life this is covering, I think for most this is a singular message, but there is a possibility that there's two messages. So we will see what Tarot tells us. These two in particular feel, actually those two together or those two together, but this is why I think it probably is one message that's connecting a number of things, but we will see. Safeguard. So safeguard comes from the suit of fruit, and fruit is all about our intimate relations, our emotions, and so forth. So we have something about how we relate and who we relate to. Wish comes from the suit of bark, which is about something we want to protect. And then offering comes from the suit of seeds, which is about opportunity and growth, and is often material or financial, but doesn't have to be. It's about energies and all of that kind of things. So what I'm seeing here, Safeguard in this particular suit talks about emotional energy where you might have been brokenhearted or disappointed by something. So let me put it this way. I think this is either, for some people, this is going to be about an emotional disappointment in a collaboration or a work endeavor or something like that you need to kind of recalibrate what you want and what you're prepared to do for it. And for others, this is going to be about a love relationship and whether or not to let a new one in, and if so, does it fit what you want, and what are you prepared to do to sort of, what are you prepared to offer, what are they offering? So I think it could be either or to some degree, so I'll try and talk about it in both ways, but this is definitely talking about where there has been some sort of disappointment or heartbreak, and so therefore the bark in a sense is safeguarding you, and the risk around this, as I say, whether it's a love relationship or whether it is in fact some sort of work or collaboration or something like that, is that we presume, well, if it's happened one time before, it's going to happen again. So you almost close the bark over and you safeguard and you don't explore it. So I think this is sort of saying to you that there are ways to sort of investigate a new opportunity, a new love, a new collaboration, whatever it is, to look at that before you determine if it's the same old, or whether it's actually indeed something new that is answering a wish. So basically, even though that's not the bark, sorry, bark's over here, but nevertheless, this is about protecting your emotions. And then you do have the bark here. And the bark with wish is about working out, is this what you really want? So do you let something in? Is it really what you want? Is it what you wish for? Is it what you've asked for? And there's a certain degree I'm going to protect myself till I know, because there's been disappointment before. And then, as I say, when you go over to the seeds, there is something new here. There is an offering. This talks about blood flowing in the body. It talks about the kind of the creation energy within a tree, and how that can be blocked if the offering isn't reciprocal or it isn't what you want, but how it also should be able to flow. It's like there's a real sense here of there is something either that you know about already that you could potentially just turn away because you think it's either too good to be true, or it's just something repeating and you're not ready and you're still heartbroken in some way from something. And it could be something good. And whether it's love or whether it's work or something like that, it has some sort of mutual benefit. And this is how you're going to know, I think. This is why this has come up. Because I feel like whether it's emotional flow and reciprocity, or whether it's financial flow or effort flow or that kind of thing for something more material, that's how you're going to know. And it's kind of, you need to assess that to work out whether or not this is something to then move away from or to move towards, because it is what you wish. So what we're going to do is we're going to use the tarot, and we're going to do 3 cards for each, just to see a little bit more about each of these messages, to again see if it looks like it's actually a couple of messages, or whether it really is one that's all interconnected. So firstly, for safeguard, so this is a little bit more about what is this heartbreak or disappointment that you're kind of protecting yourself about, and trying to work out whether or not to go forward with whatever this other possibility might be. 8 of Pentacles, the Star, the Tower. Wow. First thing I would say is this, whatever this is quite powerful. If it's a relationship, it's powerful. If it's a career opportunity or project or something, it's quite powerful. It's transformative too. And just on the basis of that, I would be saying it's more likely to be transformative in a positive way than the other. But I guess it's possible that, if you do assess what comes through and you make a decision not to do it, that's a big transformation to, say in a love relationship, if you had fallen in love, and then if the person showed an interest in you, that was what you needed, and you kind of gave them your power, and then it didn't work out and you were heartbroken. If in this case you say, no, I'm going to work out whether or not I want to be with them rather than whether they want to be with me, and it will either work out or not, but you will have the sovereignty. There's a big breakthrough for you following what you do, and it's saying that whatever happened to you, there was a great learning, and you don't need to be shown something twice. So have faith in yourself about whatever this is, whatever this is, and you are going to be able to work it out by working out if it's mutually supportive, if it's reciprocal in some way. Have faith in that. You have a lot of power, and there's a lot of transformation that you've been going through. And I would think, just on the basis of that, my gut feeling would be this is very different because you've done the transformation. But of course, you're sort of thinking, well, am I right about that or not? So you're over here protecting yourself because it's something that you really care about as a concept, like being in love or having the right, collaboration partner or whatever it is. So what do we get in terms of this wish energy for you? 8 of Swords, 4 of Pentacles reversed, 4 of Cups reversed. Okay, this is saying in fact, you've done a huge amount of work on whatever this was, whatever you sort of felt, whatever the heartbreak was, and maybe you're underestimating it, because it's saying that your wish energy is almost cautiously pessimistic. So it's sort of like when you hope for something, that's when you get very protective. So you kind of like intellectually you're closing ranks, because at some point you wish for something and it didn't have the foundation, and you need to come out of that emotional side of things. You need to get a little bit more, this is what I wish for, I'm going to see something coming in and determine whether that's answering the wish or whether I go past and move on to the other, as opposed to thinking each time it happens, maybe I'm not supposed to have my wish. I think this is saying you are meant to, and I think Spirit is saying that you are meant to, you're going through this transformation, you're extremely good at learning about things, and you don't, as I say, need to go through something twice. But maybe the learning was to not tie yourself up in just one concept of what this could be, but instead look at what the flow of energy between you and another person is all about. So if you're on solid ground or not. Because otherwise it's like you almost go into it expecting the worst, and therefore that's what you're going to see regardless. So I do think that this is the key. It's like, is the offering, is the flow reciprocal? That's what I keep getting. Is there a reciprocal thing? Do you feel, if you show love, do you feel love shown back to you? If you make an effort, do you see effort flowing back? Do you see them initiating things just as much as you, whatever it might be? So what is Spirit saying about that? Ace of Swords reversed. 2 of Swords, 2 of Wands reversed. Okay. You're stuck in the decision mode. You're stuck in the decision mode. Because what this is saying is that, I do think for most of you this is something emotional. And what this is saying is that because you kind of almost expect the same thing to happen again, even if it wasn't going to, because it takes a while to see the decision making and the choices that will tell you what the person is like. It's like you don't want to look at it through your mind, and as a result, you're not really sure whether the person is on the same page as you. But this is saying your mind is the thing that's that's, tying you up in a sense. Your mind is also the thing you need to open up to release, because it's like whatever the situation is, it's going to take time to have enough information to know. So you've got to almost say, on one side, you don't let your mind go straight to the pessimism and go, there's not enough proof, it's going to hurt me again, and just walk away, because you could be walking away from something really good. On the other hand, you've got to let your mind focus on assessing, as I say, that balance of offering. Like, that's the thing to look at. It is the person, because people can say all sorts of things, whether it's, for love or for money or for work or whatever, but what are their actions? Are their actions and the energy that they're sending to you over time balancing and reciprocating yours or not? And so your mind needs to assess that, but it needs to also be prepared to still itself long enough to see. So I think that there's something here that could be a really good connection, but you're not going to know. And the point until you've allowed that to occur, and that's the point. So that you take the sovereign energy of making that decision. Is this what you would choose? Is this your wish or not? Not are you someone else's wish, but are they yours, in whatever form this means. So let's see how that all comes together. Eight of Cups reversed, the Messenger, which is an additional card, Page of Wands, Ace of Cups reversed. Okay. All right. I actually think Eight of Cups reversed is often, when you won't let go of an emotional pattern that's bad. And I mean, there could be a bit of that. Like, it could be, are you stuck in some old emotional pattern that you need to let go of so that you can see this clearly? But what I really feel here is, because we've got the Ace of Cups reversed, particularly if this is about love or something creative, it's like, don't give up too soon. You will get the information you need, and you will decide then whether the passion is reciprocal. And you take control of this if you do it. It's like, neither write it off too quickly, nor, if you've decided the messages aren't on form for you, hang on to it after that. It's like, work it out and decide for yourself, so that you take your sovereignty and you take your passion and your creativity or whatever it is going forward. So just two cards for what you're not seeing. What's really unconscious in this? King of Cups reversed. It's interesting. That was one of the unconscious cards in another reading. So some of you might have come to more than one. Nine of Cups reversed. Okay, there's some healing around what is your wish and allowing yourself to see the wish. I think you have, this feels like, there's cautious optimism and there's cautious pessimism. And cautious pessimism is sort of have the low expectations, and that way, at worst, you're likely to be confirmed right, and at best, you could be pleasantly surprised. But the problem with that is that you're not fully owning healing from it, and you've done a lot of healing, and Spirit wants you to see that and understand that, and that it is okay to you don't have to hide away and protect your wish anymore. You are going to be able to go forward and find the right connections. Whether it's the one right now or not, time will tell, but it puts you in the driver's seat of deciding that. Okay, so let's get you a couple of divine animals to support you in this. Swan, beauty. Yeah, I think knowing your own beauty, knowing what you bring, valuing you, that's the important thing. That's the important thing. And it may well be, because I always think of that like, the sort of story, the ugly duckling who becomes the swan. If you have felt rejected before, that can put you into this pattern where you feel you're always looking to see if you're going to be accepted, and it's saying, no, don't do that. You're the swan. You're the beautiful one. You get to decide if the person's worthy of you, whether it's, as I say, a love relationship or whether it's, something else. And links, secrets. Okay, so you may feel there's something that feels a bit secret. If that's the case and over time it's not coming through, it's probably telling you to be wary, because there should be an openness. Over time it should become more open. It should be more obvious by reciprocated action. If there isn't reciprocated action, that often can mean there's a secret. There's some other agenda. But I also think this is saying you've got the secret now. You've got the secret to working out that balance. So trust yourself. You've done the healing. You're ready to reconnect with your dream. So that's very powerful. Let's look at a couple of signs or synchronicities, either from the natural material world or from the dream space or liminal space for you to know that you're working through this. Time. Okay. This may simply say that you need to give this time, and this is just the message. But it could be that, when key elements of this is going on, you see 11:11, 12:12, those kind of things. Or it could just, as I say, it could be also saying that time has passed. It's time to move forward. You have that sense. If the person sort of says things like, it's time, like, oh, do you have time? Or I want to give my time to you to do this. All of that might be indications that are positive around it. And then either on a kind of dream or oracular level, a sign could be nurture. Trees. Oh, isn't that interesting? Going right back to the tree. Moving from the tree up there, which is sort of like, I'm not sure if I can trust this, I've been hurt before, do I open up, to thinking about what is nurturing. And this is the thing. Reciprocal relationships, and whatever they are mutually nurturing. It's going to be a really good sign for you to know. If you see signs of true nurturing, that is a good sign. If you don't, and you're the one who's doing all of it, that tells you something pretty quickly as well. Okay, let's get you some stars to guide you as well, pile 2. Saturn, okay. So Saturn's interesting. Saturn could bring in the ideal and structure it and give the right boundaries. And Saturn takes time. So this says this, you do need to give this time, because Saturn is slow. Things don't evolve really quickly. It's even possible that for some of you, you kind of left something quite quickly one time before that might have worked out. And that's not saying to beat yourself up about it, like you've moved on, you've made your choice, and now there's other opportunities coming to you because you're meant to have your wish. This is what this is saying. But it will take time. It takes a bit of discipline to do this, not to sort of immediately go into old patterns of thinking. But it also, to me, it's a very strong indication you could structure something in a way you make your wish come true. Saturn, Jupiter is a good sign for wish, but in a way it's just expanding all over the shop. Saturn actually sort of solidifies things. Venus, yeah, particularly around love, beauty, anything like that. Give it time to emerge and to see whether it is something beautiful and loving and caring and nurturing. And Chiron, and to do the healing. And I think this is also said, you've put the time and effort into doing this, you have done the healing, you're ready for this. It's a very big congratulations here that you kind of looked at this on a level that most people would run away from. So congratulating you, and it's time for you to actually start moving towards what you want. So how I'm going to finish up is we're going to use roses. We're going to use the Oracle of the Roses, so to keep with the natural theme. And I want to look at the kind of energy of you coming into this message, and then the energy as you sort of take it on. So what you're coming from and what are you going to in terms of archetypes. So coming from the architect. Now that's interesting with Saturn. So it may be saying that part of the learning you've got now is you have actually started to have an architect's idea of what you want. So that's excellent. Don't use that to limit yourself too much, but use it as a way to work out. Because an architect, for instance, will say, I want to build a church, for instance, and it will look at all the various ways. And then maybe someone else comes along and is the interior decorator. So it's sort of like, where's the marriage of vision? I think there's something like that. There's something like you have a very powerful mind and a very powerful vision. So you're coming from that, and you've got a really good idea now about what your dream really is. And moving towards the creator. Yeah, beautiful. So going from the vision to the creation, going from the idea of love to the great love, whatever it might be. And it's interesting. It's something about beauty. It's something about love. It's something about collaboration, because that's the other thing. As I said, the architect creates the blueprint, and then the creator has to come along and actually flesh that out. And that is something you normally do with different people with different talents. So I think this is a really good sign around whether this is love or whether it's around something collaborative or creative. This is the energy you're moving towards. You're ready to do that. And you know how to discern it. You know how to know whether there's enough reciprocal respect and effort and love and all of those sort of things, nurturing, to make it work. So I hope that this reading resonated. I hope that it was helpful. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings. Welcome, Pile 3, to your reading. So you came to the reading with this exceptionally beautiful tenderness card. What I want to do is I want to quickly tell you about the suits and what they signify, and then we'll talk about each of the cards. I do think this is a single message. In fact, all three of these readings have been that, I think. So they all interconnect. And this is I actually think this is one that's very much about right now. Take the message now, take the advice, and then that's going to reap really great rewards. It feels quite immediate, whereas some of the others, things could take time or whatever. I think this is a pretty big call to action in a particular way, which I'll talk about. But firstly, the first suit is the fruit. So this is about emotions and intimate connections. The second suit is trunks. So trunks is about our physical body. And the third suit here is communication. It's the branches. It's how we connect with other people. Now, what these are saying in those suits, firstly, tenderness. This is like a tree goddess coming out to kind of help you understand and be self-loving and tender with yourself. This is talking about what is unique within you, but you may not think is good enough for a relationship, whether it's a love relationship, a connection, whatever it might be. This is about owning those things and owning what is special in you and being tender and kind to yourself in the way that you're probably kind to other people, but you're not necessarily always kind to yourself. It fascinates me to see that the fruit that is shown there is mango, which is like my favorite fruit. And I didn't realize that when I was so drawn to this card, but I feel like right from the outset on that if I met you, I would really like you. Like, I think there is a beautiful soul there, but you aren't necessarily fully appreciating within yourself or feeling your specialness is appreciated. And some of that may be from overwork or from overstress or from difficult relationships or something, because I think the key, this is advice for you to feel more able to connect with people in loving and good connections where you value yourself. Because firstly, with the trunk about the physical body with rest, this is saying you're not getting enough sleep or enough good sleep, enough rest. You're tired. You're burnt out. Your sleep cycles literally may be an issue. This could run anything from sleep apnea. I mean, I recently had to sort of test myself for that because we don't necessarily know we have it. I'm not saying everybody here does. I'm not diagnosing anything, but I'm saying there are various things that can disturb our sleep. Worry, self-doubt, the habits that we have. Do we do a lot of screen time and like lots of sort of loud movies or whatever before we go to bed? Are you getting enough sleep? Are you sleeping enough hours? Are you sleeping too many? Because that can also have that effect. There's something here where this sort of sense of kind of insecurity about being able to show your true self and how you shine is being exacerbated just by being really tired. And it could also be that you're feeling like you're jumping through hoops for everybody and it's just exhausting you. So there's an energy with that. But it's saying if you get better sleep, if you get better time out so that you can feel less beleaguered, then you can listen. This is about communication. This is about listening for all the nuances and so forth to make the judgments that you need to make about who is worth your effort. If there is effort involved, who is worth the effort and who isn't worth the effort? And how can you best communicate who you are? This is a card very much of wisdom with an owl there, but it's like taking the time to do that as well too. I feel that like for many of you, you may be in very competitive work environments, very competitive families, very competitive friendship circles, or you may have a very competitive lover and you need to have a think about what that means if it's the case. And you're just run ragged and you're feeling like you're not seen or appreciated, or you're feeling like, and you're not being kind to yourself. Pile 3, and you need to be kind to yourself first. Then you can work out, how to communicate in a way that's kind to others. I just feel like you're very giving. You sort of always like put the other person's feelings first, all of that kind of thing, but it's not necessarily being appreciated. Or if it is, you're so tired you're not even able to see it. So I think it's a very immediate thing. This is the key. Get some rest. Like look at how to get rest, time out. If you're overworked at work, if you possibly can, take a holiday, that kind of thing. So let's have a look at, and I mean, when I'm filming this, I'm not sure when I'm actually going to post it, but when I'm filming, there is sort of like holiday season not too far around the corner. So if you can take advantage of something like that, do. But, you may see this at some much later stage as well. So you'll know whether you can or not. But let's get some advice. We're going to get 3 cards from Tarot for each of them for a little bit more information on each part of this message. Then we're going to see how they come together and also what's unconscious. So a little bit more about being tender with yourself, being able to know and believe and express and connect through what is special and beautiful in you. We have 9 of Wands reversed. Yeah, you're definitely in a contentious environment of one form or another. King of Pentacles. 6 of, okay. I feel like for many of you this is about work. Now it could be, in a relationship or something like that. So certainly that could be the case. If If you're in a relationship, you're with someone who's very dominating and it's very materially focused. And you have to be really careful what you say about them, and they don't even recognize what you're bringing to the relationship. So I do think if this is being triggered by a relationship, you need the rest and the time out so you can listen and work out, is this the right one? But I think for most, this feels more like it's in a work environment with the King of Pentacles turning up. And it's a very contentious work environment with the Nine of Wands reverse, and you're not getting recognized for what you do. So this may be giving yourself the rest to be able to listen and find where you can go to somewhere else and where the opportunities come up. But this is saying, this is not you. This is the environment that you're in or the other people that you're in. And it is saying it's highly likely this person or these people are not going to recognize you because they have their own reasons for that are probably not even about you, but more about their own insecurities. But it's running you ragged. So you can't even hear that or understand it. So you're taking it in. So I think that's what's happening. But it could also be that you're not recognizing yourself either. So, it is possible for some of you might be able to turn this around if you get a rest and you listen carefully and know how to interact to bring that up. But I just feel you're in some situation where it doesn't matter what you did, it would never be good enough. That's sort of, and this is not what you're supposed to be in because you're a beautiful person and you have much to offer. So what's the message about rest here? A little bit more about that. Three of Pentacles, Four of Pentacles, the Chariot reverse. Yeah, it's saying to find the right people to collaborate, to find the right jobs, to find the right relationships, to build a foundation that's going to work, you've got to slow down first. It's all there. You have everything you need to do it. Everything you need to do it. And you might have been made to feel like you were a lone wolf or different. But this is saying, no, you're not. You're actually, when you rest, you'll be able to find in this situation or in some other situation, the right collaborators, the right people, the right relationships. You'll be able to build something that sustains, but you've got to slow down first because it's out of balance and it's just, you're not going to see what you have to offer because of whatever situation's going on. So then what it says about listening, when you've got a bit of rest and you kind of go still and you listen, what can you have coming with that? Knight of Swords reversed, King of Wands reversed, Death reversed. Yeah, I think this is just about the act of slowing down again with Knight of Swords reversed so that you can think it through and listen. There is something about competition around you. And to be able to express your own creativity and your own abilities, and they're significant, not have them suppressed, and to be ready to make that choice, you need to slow down and really listen and pay attention to what's going on. You'll realise it, you'll see what's going on. You could be around quite a bit of gaslighting, I think. So let's bring all the messages together for you, File 3. It's saying don't make the choice until you've had that chance to rest and listen. But then make the choice that's right for you. So bringing it all together. Ace of Pentacles reversed. The Empress. The Moon reversed. The Hermit reversed. Okay, all right. So I've got a very specific thing here. For some of you, this may be around family stuff. There may be some issue around the nurturing people and whether or not they're allowing you to grow into what you want to be. And if you're always trying to sort of like meet those demands, you're going to get clearer and clearer about it anyway with the Moon reverse there. Things are coming to the surface. More generally, you are meant to be abundant. There's something, a job, some sort of creative project, something that's material that you're meant to be able to really be abundant with, but it's knowing that it's been submerged for the moment. But you'll get clearer and clearer on this if you take this advice, and then you're going to come out. So you will spend a bit of time being the hermit, considering it. Then you'll be able to come out. You'll be able to come out and do what you want to do. So you are meant to be abundant. There is something beautiful and skillful, abundant or in love or whatever it is that you're looking for. But at the moment, you run ragged and you're in a bit of a competitive environment, and you need to kind of prioritize you very physically first. So what's unconscious that you're not seeing in this, Pile 3? Nine of Pentacles, Three of Cups reversed. Okay. I think what is difficult in this thing, and so it may be unconscious or it just might be that you don't want to see it because it could be painful, is that you aren't around supportive people in whatever this is. You're just not. You're just not. You would be better off building for yourself than trying to work it out. But again, you're not going to see this until you until you rest. Having said that, there could be people around that are good, and so it helps you discern which, it doesn't necessarily mean that you're in some hopeless situation where you are at the moment. You absolutely have to leave somewhere. It may be that you just need to be able to discern who is a good collaborator and who's not. But to do this, you need to think, I'm going to be okay on my own, and know that you have enough. Then I think you will be able to bring in people that you want. But like, until you say I'm okay on my own, so you rest, you take the time out and you prioritize you, this emotional energy keeps drawing you into its undertow, and it keeps making you tireder. So it's really asking you to do this if you can as soon as possible. So let's get you some divine animals to help you. Firstly, we have the lioness. Oh, beautiful. Protection. This is protection energy, so you're getting very strong protection around this. This message is a protection. You may also, with that Empress and the Ace of Pentacles, there may be something that you're really trying to protect. So, if you're in a situation, you've just broken up with a partner and you have children, and some of this might be protecting that. This energy will help you protect that and not be run ragged again, so that you can do what you need to do. That's a very specific thing, but there's something there. But certainly you have a very fierce protective energy around you. And hyena, fear, to help you deal with the fear. To know that you're protected. This is saying you are special, you are beautiful, you have something precious. When you rest and you really listen, you're going to see it. You're going to see the people who see it and you can work with. You're going to see the people who are threatened, who are trying to stop you. You have protection. Do not be afraid. That's what this is saying. Let's also get you some signs, sort of synchronistic signs, to help you identify your progress with this when you take the advice and you start to take some rest and prioritise yourself a bit. Phoenix, oh, how perfect is that? You'll know because you're re-energized. You'll know because you're ready to be reborn. You'll know because nobody's going to keep you down anymore. Thank you very much. So that's really, really good. Let's see around sort of dream or oracular messaging as well. Healing. Oh, perfect. Beautiful. This is about healing. This is about healing. You're lovely. This energy, as I say, I'm sure I'd really like you personally if I met you. This is a lovely energy, and you're meant to bring that forward. Very special, but you need to heal so that you can come back as the phoenix. So once you feel that you're healing, once that's happening, you'll know the sign of you're being able to have the clarity to make the right decisions and rise and find your people. You won't really be alone, but it's because you could be alone if you needed to be that you're going to find your people. Let's get you some stars to guide you. Waning crescent moon, the surrender, release control of the universe. Yeah, you can't change the people in this situation. All you can do is look after yourself and then discern which ones you go forward with. If people are competing and not being fair, they're going to stay that way. They're not going to change. But you'll also be able to find the people that are right. Just understand that this is a process you need to go through and you need to look after yourself. Pisces, really emotional. This is very emotional. It's very spiritual as well. I think very connecting with this lion energy in particular, I think there's sort of like a very strong spirit guide. I'm getting sort of something like Sekhmet, who watches over or has a lion sort of energy to give you that fierceness, that connection. You're also probably very, very psychic, and some of this may be a need for rest and boundaries because you're taking in too much from other people. It may be one of your gifts and you don't even know you have it, because Pisces are incredibly telepathic, incredibly able to absorb and empathic. And we have the 12th house, yeah. A lot of this is the same, but that's also sleep. Having privacy, sleep, get the rest, give yourself some boundaries. Okay, so to finish off pile 3, we're going to the roses, so we're sort of staying with the natural theme, but this is a deck that has archetypes. And so we're looking at the archetype energy that brought you to this, what you're coming from, and then we're going to see what you're going towards when you've taken on the messages and the advice in whatever way resonates for you. So what you're coming from. The heart. Oh, God, you're lovely. You really, really are. So you come so much from the heart, but I don't think you're around a lot of people that do. I think you will find people that do, but I do think that there's a lot of competitive stuff, but you'll always come from the heart. That's why you're protected. And what are you heading towards? The mother. Now that's interesting with the Empress coming up. it could be for some of you, this is around nurturing relationships and how you nurture better. Some of you may be new parents and this is sort of like, wow, how do I do all this? How do I do it right? Is there a right way of doing it? Is there my way of doing it? For others, I think that your heart moves into nurturing, and you may help other people with exactly this sort of thing. Good nurturing, caring nurturing, nurturing that brings towards abundance. And I just got this very specific, if you are someone who is trying to be a parent and you're having issues, this is like get some rest, sleep, build your body up. You will be able to connect and get what you want if something like that is actually what this message is about. But in whatever way it is, you are lovely people and you deserve to put yourself forward a bit more. And the first step, and it's really important right now, is to get the rest, to replenish your batteries so that you can really listen and understand who's going to be the right people to be with, what are the right things to do, so you're not overwhelmed. So I hope that this resonates for you. I hope it's helpful. If so, please like and subscribe. If you care to share in the comments, I'd love to hear. Otherwise, I hope to see you in future readings.